Greetings to all TrueDiet viewers. We have yet another knowledge packed series on holistic nutrition and wellness from women and child development. This time we have experts not just from nutrition but also from physio, psychology and spirituality. Hope you will benefit from their wisdom.
Hi everyone. Being healthy is not just about eating right, but also emotional or mental health well-being. Today we have Sri Leelanand Das from ISKCON Hyderabad to enlighten us on spirituality, how important it is for the overall development of a pregnant mother and a child as well.
Pregnancy is one of the most important phase of a woman's life. Okay,
Correct.
so
Correct.
how a spiritual knowledge or being a spiritually connected, how important it is, and what is the important role it plays in a woman to have a holistic development of the kid. Can you please tell us something about
Yes.
this?
Hare Krishna. So, Mataji, um, next to God, if there is somebody who is really our well-wisher and our caretaker, that is mother, right? Irrespective of any religion or creed, every mother is the most respectable personality in any person's life. A man can become a politician or a leader of the world. Even Hitler has a mother, right? Even Narendra Modi has a mother today. And how that mother has planned her pregnancy and how her consciousness has helped the child's consciousness is a very important aspect, which is part of our Vedic tradition. In Vedas, we are none of the relationships are disconnected relationships. Like for example, the mother's consciousness has got a clear relationship with the child's consciousness, but in the Western world they see as two different aspects. But in Vedic culture, we see that as one single aspect, right? So mother's consciousness before pregnancy, during pregnancy, and after pregnancy has an immense effect on the child's consciousness. For that matter, even before becoming a mother, how a woman is treated in our Vedic society is the most glorifiable thing. You know, of course, right now many people think that women were exploited in Vedic tradition because they're not properly educated about it. But though it is not a part of the discussion, I have to give a little understanding that, you know, woman is the most respected and the most caretaken person in the house. In fact, Vedas start with, if you have cooked something in the house, first thing that should be offered is elders and women in the house, and then the children, and then the household person should eat, right? And when she goes through any the periods or monthly thing, she has to be given proper rest, and there has to be bhajan, and there has to be good scriptural reading around her. So much importance is given to the woman's consciousness, because it is told that if a woman gives birth to a right child, 21 generations next will get benefited as per Vedas. 21 generations, right? So it's not about your child's child, and child until 21 generations. If a birth is given by a woman, so important it is, right? So in the Vedas, there is so much of proof that a woman has to be kept happy, and the whole act of pregnancy or even procreation before the pregnancy has to be very structurally planned. It is not like a whimsical act, like 99% children in Europe are born on Saturday nights, without any planning. But that's not the way our Vedic culture is, right? The consciousness is planned. The parents orient her daughter, that this is a very important contribution of yours in the form of becoming a mother to your in-laws family. And right from the childhood, the girl is oriented. How important are you? Are you going to be also to the next family, right? So women have to be taught Vedic scriptures. Though women are very attached to the family by nature, and that's a great nature that God has given, which no man can substitute. A man can never become a woman. A man cannot do some things that women can do. Vice versa also is true, but this is very important, right? A man, for example, a woman, she takes care of the baby so nicely, but if the baby urinates and goes stool, woman doesn't feel irritated. She will feel it's a new service for her. But you can naturally see if a man is lifting a child and he does urination, immediately he'll give it to the woman. You take care of this person, because that's not there in the man to get so attached with the children and all, which is a nature given. by God Himself, which cannot be changed. Which cannot be changed. Today, a man can try to be a mother, but he cannot. It's not possible. And a mother cannot be replaced by a ayah or somebody in a crush. Mother is mother, right? And all the great leaders of the world are the ones who were loved and taken care by their mothers. As simple as that. Leaders are not made in management institutes. Leaders are made by mothers, by their love. That is our Vedic culture. So the orientation towards spirituality was there in our culture right from the beginning. Women were part of satsangs. Women were part of hearing scriptures. And in fact, if you see, Veda Vyas told the entire Bhagavatam to his wife. And from her womb, Sukadev Goswami heard it, and he repeated to Parikshit Maharaj, and we have Srimad Bhagavatam in our hands, right? And even such incident has happened when Narad Muni spoke the entire Bhagavatam to Kayadu, who is the wife of Hiranyakashipu, and from her womb, Prahlad Maharaj came out, right? So you can see the history that how important it is that the mother is hearing this knowledge and passing it on to the child in all stages, even before conception, during conception, and after the birth also, right? So women's spiritual orientation is very, very important.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. So my next question is, what are the different practices or what are the spiritual practices a woman needs to follow during pregnancy? What are different practices, when to be in this conscious state, what a woman has to follow?
Yes. So one of the most important thing, Mataji, is along with the woman, the participation of the man is also very important. Man of the house, her husband, and both should be oriented that together they are going to do a very, very responsible act, right? And that is the act of giving birth to a child. Now, I will not get into in depth of the Vedic philosophy of why we are taking birth and everything, but I have to tell you that by a male and female coming together, we are giving an opportunity for a soul to get purified through a body, right? So we are providing a body to the soul. So what kind of soul you are inviting is also in your hands. This is a secret that only the people with Vedic knowledge know. A lot of people don't know that the kind of child that you want to give birth is completely in your hands, right? So the couple has to be educated how to call for that child. For example, if mother and father are in tamoguna, mode of ignorance, the child who will come will also have tamoguna in his consciousness. Though as a small child he may not show it, but as he grows, you will understand that the child's consciousness is so in tamo, mode of ignorance, where he will reject everything good, accept everything bad very easily, as compared to accepting everything good. Rejecting bad is very difficult for him, right? So the consciousness of the parents, even before the procreation, it is called a sanskar called Garbhadhana sanskar. There are right from our birth till our death, there are samskaras, like name giving ceremony and thread giving ceremony, upanayanam, etc. We go on. For female child, it's different. But even before the birth, the sanskara starts right from even before the child has actually come into the body of the mother. That is called Garbhadhana sanskar, where the father and mother together, they agree that we are going to consciously perform this act. So we also will determine the kind of soul which is going to come into our family. And with that consciousness, when they do that act, the soul that comes into the woman's womb is going to be a very special soul. And we can see that in our society, in International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, as many of you know, the children that are taking birth now, where parents were already devotees or they were spiritually inclined and they performed this Garbhadhana sanskar, are completely different. The children are so blissful by nature. Their consciousness is very much in Sattva Guna. They take up devotional activities very easily, and they're very, very intelligent children. Not just intelligence related to academics, but even intelligent emotionally and psychologically. They're very, very sharp, right? Because these are not ordinary souls who are coming in. So Garbhadhana sanskar is the procedure before the conception.
Thank you, Prabhuji. There are few women who maybe they doesn't know this Garbhadhana sanskara, and they get the pregnancy, right? So after pregnancy, what are the conscious things that she can do to at least have a right child?
Yes. Very nice question, Mataji. Actually, the opportunity to correct the child or opportunity to give right consciousness to the child continues even after the birth and during the pregnancy also, right? So let's divide this into two parts. One is before the delivery and after the delivery, right? So before the delivery, in that 9 months period, lot of people think that spiritual awakening happens only when the child is able to understand what is listening, and that will happen only after 7 or 8 years of birth. But that's absolutely wrong. Actually, Vedas explain that 80 to 90% of the learning that the soul goes through is inside the womb, which might be very inconceivable for outside people to understand because they don't have faith in the scriptures. But our scriptures have explained that the woman has to be kept very happy and all her wishes have to be fulfilled when she's pregnant, right? She wants to eat something. You can see in our culture itself, so much importance is given when somebody is pregnant in the house. No quarrels in the house. She's not made part of any arguments. And the husband, and she also spends some good time in her own nanihal, in her own mother's house, so that any argument at all is avoided, and her consciousness is so nicely secured that she's not hurt by anyone. And on top of that, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Lord Krishna's stories in 10th canto of Bhagavatam is something that we prescribe, in our society, and that was done even in the Vedic times. There was Harikatha in every village, every evening, and these things were part of our culture, where you don't have to go and call somebody to give a lecture or a bhajan. It used to happen every evening in the village, and the women would go there and sit down and listen to the whole Harikatha and feel very nice, and they would remember Lord Krishna. And they would pray that, my child should have some qualities of Lord Krishna. He should be like little Kana. And with that consciousness, or he should be like Lord Ram, when they hear that katha, or when they hear Prahalad Maharaj's katha, they would want that child to be like Prahalad's qualities, like Dhruva's qualities, the Ambrish Maharaj's qualities. So many. Whenever you hear positive things, that positivity comes inside you. And the child inside the womb, even though whatever consciousness which he was in his previous life, when he has come into the womb, he would become a different person even before he comes out of the womb, because he has heard so many things from his mother, right? So that's a very important aspect, that is during the pregnancy time, that they should hear always, read always about God and God's stories and nice devotee stories, nothing negative. They should not watch the movies that we see in the these days, a lot of violence or a lot of harassment. Especially avoid news, because news is all about negativity these days. See only positive things, so that positivity automatically comes into the child. That is about during pregnancy. And after pregnancy is one of the most important period, when again the mother is giving her personal attention to the children, right? Vedas explain that nobody can replace a mother. But of course, I don't want to sound negative about how children are being brought up today, especially when mothers leave them in a crush and go to offices. But you should understand that if you are a manager or assistant manager, whatever you are, a company can get from 100 places. But for your child, you are the only mother, right? Your child cannot get another mother. So that is the biggest investment of actually taking care of the child after the birth, where the mother also becomes attached to the child. Human beings, we have to go through that austerity, where a mother wants to take bath and the child is crying, mother wants to eat and the child is crying, mother wants to go out and the child is crying. It might be a very difficult time for that mother, but that relationship bonding happens when that sacrifice happens. From sacrifice comes love, right? So that is very, very important time. And the mother should read, keeping the child in her hands, she should read some nice stories, she should sing some nice songs about God. She should make the child become very attached to that to the warmth, of her breasts, of her body. Child should be very close to the mother. And you would be surprised to know that more than 95% of the criminals in America, in American jails, are the ones who did not have a mother in their childhood. Do you know that? 95% criminals. And more than 70% depressions that are going on with people today are the people whose mothers have not taken care of them. They never had that. Mother was going to office or making money for the children, whatever name you call it. But the warmth of a mother is what is very, very important. And I'll tell you one more important fact, that the mothers who have not breastfed their children are the children who abused women in their future, because they could never experience the motherliness in a woman. The motherliness in a woman is when he takes feed from her, but he never experienced that, and now he's frustrated. The frustration comes out as he grows up, and so much crime or so much mode of ignorance activities they contribute to. You might be surprised hearing all these things from me, but I was also surprised when I read these things. So Vedic teachings is not about rituals. It's about the whole culture and lifestyle in which the mother and father bring up a child after the child takes birth.
Hope you guys found this knowledge useful. See you tomorrow with another interesting video. Like, share and subscribe my channel.